Jannik Sinner's wild ride. The Italian tennis sensation and world number 1 on his extraordinary 2024. By Giovanni Ordifredi, photographs by Philip Gay and styling by Nick Pyrus published, the 10th of December 2024. Meet Jannik Sinner at a hotel in Monte Carlo. The day is gloomy, windy. He shows up in tennis kit, a bit intimidated, perhaps, but with a ready wit. I tell him he seems taller than the last time we met. Or maybe you, as you got older, got smaller, he says. On his wrist he has his Rolex GMT Master 2, with a black and brown bezel. He takes it off so I can see the inscription on the back, celebrating his first Grand Slam victory, at the Australian Open in January of this year, beating Daniil Medvedev in the final. That is how the most incredible year of my life began, he says. Sinner is 23 years old. Since the 10th of June, he has been the world number 1 in the ATP tennis ranking, the first Italian ever to take the position. He is also the first Italian to win 2 Grand Slams in the same season, having won the US Open in September. He is still young, but it's been a long climb to the top. He grew up in Sesto Pusteria, a village on the border between Italy and Austria. At home, his mother, Sieglinde, and father, Hans-Peter, speak German. When Sinner left his family at the age of 14 to go to a tennis academy in Bordighera, near the French border over 400 miles from his home, he spoke almost no Italian. Now, he is a sensation in Italy, where tennis school enrollments are skyrocketing and beyond. His distinctive red hair and his rangy frame, his focus on mental health rather than winning at all costs, and his fans, the Carrot Boys, frequently sighted courtside, all combine to make Sinner the opposite of a ball-shooting robot. It's not difficult to see why Rolex would want him as an ambassador. That's a great source of pride, he says. It's important for me to work with elegant people who uphold a high standard of behavior. Meanwhile, the results speak for themselves. In addition to the Australian Open and the US Open, Sinner has this year also triumphed in Rotterdam, Miami, Halle and Cincinnati, earning over €11 million, about £9 million, in prizes. And yet, this has also been a year of huge disappointments. In May, a hip injury forced Sinner to retire from the Madrid Open. He missed the tournament in Rome. He suffered defeat by Carlos Alcaraz in the semi-finals at Roland Garros, and in the quarter-finals at Wimbledon by Daniil Medvedev. He missed the Paris Olympics due to tonsillitis. But most of all, he has had to deal with the suspicion of doping. On the 10th of March, at Indian Wells in California, and again on the 18th of March, he tested positive for less than a billionth of a gram of the banned anabolic steroid clostebol. Sinner was suspended from tennis, initially for 2 days, the 4th and the 5th of April, before his suspension was overturned on appeal. Then he was suspended again, from 17 to the 20th of April. His defense was straightforward. The clostebol, his team had discovered, had been contained in an over-the-counter spray that Sinner's physio, Giacomo Nodi, had used to treat a cut on his own finger. When Nodi massaged Sinner, traces of the banned substance were inadvertently and unknowingly transferred to him. The ITIA, International Tennis Integrity Agency, accepted this explanation and cleared Sinner of any wrongdoing. It was a tough time, he tells me. I couldn't talk to anyone about it. I couldn't vent or get help. All the people who knew me and watched me play understood that there was something wrong with me. I spent sleepless nights, because even if you are certain of your innocence, you know that these things are complex. Everyone immediately told the truth and that allowed me to play. But at Wimbledon, on the court, I was white. And even afterwards, my feeling with people was fearful. I went into training in the Cincinnati clubhouse and thought, how are they looking at me? What do they really think of me? I realized who my real friends are. It seemed the affair was closed. But in September, WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, announced it was appealing Sinner's case, asking for a disqualification on the grounds of fault or negligence. This again throws Sinner into uncertainty, for between 3 and 6 months. Yet the spirit is firm, and the game is unaffected. In October, he reached the final of the China Open in Beijing, and in November he capped a sensational year by winning the ATP Finals trophy in Turin, his first big victory in front of his home fans, convincingly defeating the American Taylor Fritz in the final. He is the first Italian to have won the ATP Finals, the most lucrative of all tennis competitions, and the first player since Ivan Lendl in 1986 to make it all the way through the tournament without dropping a set. "I have grown so much this year," he says, "both mentally and physically. The results you see now are not sudden. They are the fruits of the hard work we have done over the past 2 years."